Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
Johnny, the fans just haven't asked for it, they have demanded it.
This August, we're headed back to Tampa for Wrestle House 2.
WrestleMania weekend, we brought you Sinister Minister James Mitchell, TJP, Demolition Smash, Al Snow, Dutch Mantel Zeb Coulter, JTG of Primetime, and WWE Hall of Famer Gerald Briscoe for in-depth interviews and live interactive cyber autograph signings.
And if you want our Wednesday Night Wrestling Insider Special edition episodes to continue, we need your help to bring these superstars' careers and lives to life.
Bringing you free content 7 days each week is an expensive proposition. Between appearance fees, air travel, renting the house, the equipment, and everything that goes in to a week of shooting, we can't do it without you.
As we prepare to return to producing live in-ring events, help us bring you the superstars and legends of yesterday and tomorrow by visiting Indiegogo now and check out some of the great rewards.
Wrestling fans, it's going to be a wild week in Tampa the first week in August. Get ready for Wrestle House 2.
In my day, the wrestler had more control.
Absolutely.
But since the 80s, I don't talk too much about it because no wrestler could take credit for anything they did from 1985 up. They're just following a script.
Well, we're in 1984 right now.
1984, the wrestlers still have a say-so on what they do. That's why Hogan never beat me. I didn't want him to.
MSG, you had that big encounter. I remember that.
I told him if he's going to beat me, got to do it on his own. Today, they tell you, let Hogan beat you, you lay down or you go home.
Yeah.
That's why what he did, he put all the other organizations out of business so that the wrestler had no place to run. You either do what Vince said or you go home. You eliminate all your competition. That way the wrestler, wrestler have more power over what they did and say because if Vince McMahon didn't treat you right, you go to work for Vern Gagne. Vern Gagne don't treat you right, you go work for Jim Crockett. Crockett don't treat you right, you go work for Bill Watts. Or you go work for the Von Erich. You had other places to go, but when Vince bought out all these territory, you had no place to go. It's kind of like Walmart come in, he take over all the businesses, and so you either work for Walmart or you don't go to work.
Right.
Because there's no more companies to go to. Walmart is the dominant employee of everywhere you go.
All right, well, you kicked off the year, you had the tag team titles. It wasn't the most pleasant experience with you and Rocky. Rocky would strand you at hotels when you had scheduled matches. Take us to April the 17th, 1984, the night they decided to take the belts off you and they put it on Dick Murdoch and Adrian Adonis.
And I knew nothing about it.
Well, explain. What do you mean you knew nothing about it? They just told you that night?
No, I didn't know we were going to lose.
You went into the match. No, what did you think the finish was?
We didn't have one. They said they'd tell me in the ring.
Why didn't they want to tell you?
Because they knew I wasn't going to do it.
Really?
They knew I wasn't going to do that. I would have press slammed both of them and threw them in the third row.
Why, you didn't want to drop the belts?
No. But
Well,
but Vince knew me.
Well, Rocky Johnson obviously knew.
But they told Rocky, but they didn't tell me. They used to tell Rocky a lot of stuff they wouldn't tell me. They did the same with SD. They would tell SD something, they wouldn't tell me nothing.
Why would they tell you, Tony? Rocky Johnson said in a recent interview, in that time period, you were difficult to do business with.
Because I was a man.
You were a man, okay.
Vince was not used to men. See, if I didn't like something, I would say something. Ronnie Piper put that in his book. The boys, when the business first started growing real big, they started selling out everywhere under Hulkamania. But when I got my check, it was the same as it was before Hogan. So, all the wrestlers was talking about it in the dressing room.
So there was more revenue coming in, and you were still getting the same pay?
No,
Is that
not
what you
just
mean?
me, everybody.
Well, no, the revenue was coming in.
All the wrestlers was talking about it, so Vince heard the talk, so he had a meeting. So Vince said, anybody got anything they want to say? So I looked around, nobody said nothing. So I stood up. And Ronnie Piper put in his book, said Tony Atlas lost his job for speaking up to the wrestlers, and everybody check got improved, and Tony Atlas got fired.
So what did you say at the meeting?
I said, how come when the houses was down, I got this amount, now the houses is up, I still getting the same amount. How can we draw more money, have more people, but my paycheck don't go up.
Well, you said you were earning a healthy income. In one of the previous episodes, you said you were at about 350 grand.
Yeah, but the houses were bigger than that.
So
That was the same money I was making when it was small.
So you're saying the percentage to the boys went down?
Went down.
We
started making less instead of more.
In a previous episode, we talked about right now, WWE, even with the huge amount of money they're grossing every year, only about 10% of that goes to the wrestlers, which is very different than any other form of entertainment or sports. You look at sports teams, you know, you're talking about usually half the pie go to the athletes.
And I spoke up about it. And when I spoke up, I got blackballed.
Well, that's very interesting. In May of 1984, Vince Sr. passed.
The same thing with the Ultimate Warrior, right? They kicked him to the curb. Same thing. Cause he going to wrestle Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And there was more people there to see the Warrior than Hogan. People have seen Hogan. This Warrior came along, and he was a new phenomenon. So the Warrior went to Vince and said, "Look, I'm not going out tonight unless I get the same money
as Hogan."
As Hogan get. He said, "I'm in the same match. We both responsible for the house. I should get what Hogan get."
Well, they're on
they
top
got rid of him.
Well,
see, the same thing happened. Well, it wasn't just me. There was a lot of guys in wrestling. These are your rules. Keep your mouth shut, do as you're told, and don't be late.
Well, I got to ask
I broke every rule.
I
ran my mouth.
Why?
I didn't do what I was told, and I was late a couple of times.
A couple of times?
Yes.
Let me ask you this, Tony. If all the guys were frustrated about this, if everybody knew, at least in theory, you were getting stiffed based upon what the gross was for the tickets, why didn't everybody stand up in that meeting?
Because
they can't fire everybody.
Once one do it, one would sacrifice for many.
So you were the sacrificial lamb?
I was the sacrificial lamb, yeah. Once that one person say nothing, nobody else had to say nothing, because you're speaking for everyone. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so what the other guys do, they would sit back and let you be the one. Like, for people in all this, think about this. A person come to you and say, if I were you, I would do this.
Right.
If I were you. They do that all the time. If I were you, I wouldn't put up with that. If I were you, I wouldn't let him do that. If I were you, I would say something. If I were you.
Now, was this?
And that's how they would trick a young wrestler into going doing something or saying something he normally would say. But they'd use that term, if I were you. I'd say, well, I'm not you, so I'm not going to do that. But if I were you, I'd do that. You see? And so we don't pay no attention with the wrestling world. As soon as one guy speak up, there was guys always trying to get the union going, like Jesse Ventura. Once he tried to get a union going, that was it for him. Every time the wrestler...
Well, no, Jesse was still around after that.
Pretty much
for 4 years.
Jesse. Yeah, but what kept Jesse around, when he became governor, he got involved in other stuff. Right. Jesse has something else other than wrestling.
Absolutely.
So once you get something else other than wrestling going for yourself, they would treat you better. That's what kept Hogan around so long, because Hogan, like I said, is a self-made man. Most all the commercials and movies Hogan did, Vince didn't do that for Hogan. Hogan did that for Hogan. Mm-hmm. So Hogan always had something else going for Hogan. Once you become totally dependent on Vince, he do you the way he want to do you. And if you don't go along with it, he just get rid of you.
Well, Sergeant Slaughter pushed for the boys to get a union right around that time, and look at what happened to him.
Then he
was exiled from WWF at that point, too.
Well, everybody that stand up for the wrestlers will eventually get slaughtered. And now, on Vice TV, they just did a documentary on Bruiser Brody. When Bruiser Brody got stabbed to death in the locker room, the people that take him to the hospital, turned and said, "Do anybody want to help us put him in the ambulance? Just put in the ambulance." Every wrestler in that dressing room turned it back.
I remember.
When they said, "Did anybody want to go to the hospital with him?" Everybody turned it back. When the police asked what happened, everybody said, "I don't know."
I look forward to seeing the documentary.
Wrestling is a dog-eat-dog world, and you have to get your bite out of it. If you finish the wrestling career with one friend, consider yourself lucky.
The World Wrestling Federation was live at the Fleet Center in Boston, Massachusetts, Friday, July the 10th, 1998. A makeup from June 27th. for an event that was postponed due to numerous injuries. In the opening contest, Steve Blackman beat Marvelous Mark Merrill. Farouk with the win over The Godfather. WWF Tag Team Champions, the New Age Outlaws, retained the titles over Los Boricuas. WWF European Champion Triple H retained the title over WWF Intercontinental Champion The Rock via disqualification. The Legion of Doom battled DOA to a double countout. X-Pac defeated D'Lo Brown. Mark Henry victorious over Vader via disqualification. Ken Shamrock beat Owen Hart. And in the main event, WWF World Champion Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Undertaker defeated Kane and Mankind. If you were in Boston live, share your memories in the comment section below. Use the links in the description box to keep Wrestling Legends working in our eBay store and on our world-renowned Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston Wrestling Sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep Wrestling Legends working during the worst of times